What is going on YouTube? Yashanka here on a beautiful Wednesday. Alright, let's get into it. So, in case you guys follow or you don't follow, well, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez is an idiot. And she keeps repeating it every single day thus far. And, you know, it's a good and a bad thing because it makes for good, excellent content to make fun of her for, but at the same time, very scary and cringeworthy on how she got there, how and why she got voted into being a member of Congress. And, you know, it's just really, I get so dumbfounded when I realize that this person is in government and holds a position in government, and I just cannot believe it, especially with the things that come out of her mouth. So if anybody hasn't heard, it's kind of stirring right now. She went on, I think it was Instagram Live or Twitter Live, and she basically compared the situation at the border with the camps and the forts that had to be built up down there at the border because of the overcrowding of the existing buildings that are there. So there is no room to put these people without cramping them in these buildings that are overpopulated, and they have to find ways to accommodate these people. So they have to start building forts, or I guess a term would be like an internment camp. Okay, they're not being overworked, and they're not being worked. They're not being killed or anything. They're being housed there because the existing buildings, I cannot stress this enough, are overcrowded. So the best thing to do is to build forts, or the old previous term used to be internment camps. And internment camps were, if you don't know, were first brought up in 1942, the early 40s, 1940, basically after Pearl Harbor, 1941, let's just say that, by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. As the scare of possible Japanese spies were running around the United States, there was a fear that, we have to segregate ourselves from the Japanese population, the German population, and the Italian population, because those were the enemies. Not so much the Italians, because they were just a minor footnote, but the two big were German and Japanese. But for the Japanese, though, they were put in internment camps because it was felt that they were spies for the Japanese, or for the Japanese military or the government. So, that happened, all right? And, back when President Bush was in office, he, sent out an apology and I guess paid reparations to the families who were affected by that, because not everyone was a Japanese, spy. A lot of them had been living in the States for, a couple generations. They had businesses. They had all these, they had lives there that were set up there, and U.S. citizens, to boot. So, FDR just basically said, we got to put everybody in camp. And so, was it wrong? Yeah. Should these people have been, interviewed and vetted? Yeah, but the war was going on. They were so concerned about fighting, one in Europe and one in the Pacific. So I guess questions later, actions now. So that's basically kind of like how it happened. All right. Now, I'm a big history dude, and I know a little bit about the internment camps. I didn't dive too much into it, but I do know that that's just the basics of what happened because of Pearl Harbor and the scares of spies. So getting back to AOC. AOC says that they're not internment camps, they're not forts, they're not temporary housing communities. She's calling them concentration camps. Concentration camps. Now, any sane, credible person would know what the hell a concentration camp is. Okay? Now, I don't know if she's just doing this because she firmly believes that, or if she's just trying to say that, well, they're concentration camps. Let's make Trump look like a Nazi because he's so concerned about the border and the wall that he's putting these people in concentration camps. Concentration camps are connected to Nazis. Trump, Nazis. Is there a correlation there? You know, I don't know if she's just trying to stir this and trying to just draw lines that Donald Trump is officially the Fuhrer of the United States. So I have no idea what thought process this is. I have no idea who in the hell, says this. Or maybe she does know what she's saying. And she's saying that because, well, I'm trying to just make Trump look bad, and I'm just going to spew a bunch of lies and just make him look more and more like a Nazi. Instead of just calling him a Nazi, let's draw the lines and conclusions, and I'll say things that I feel like he's a Nazi, and I feel like he's, a fascist. So what better way to do it than by calling the little settlements there at the border concentration camps? Well, in case AOC forgot or didn't know what a concentration camp was, you could actually technically, just the simplest form of it would be watching the movie Schindler's List, okay? If you watch that movie, all right, not saying it's 100% historically accurate or, it doesn't have its moments in there, but you get a pretty good idea of what happened in concentration camps, okay? All right? They are basically either forced labor, poor housing, poor food quality, or no food, or very little to no food at all. They were death camps, okay? They were death camps, and they were all over Poland and in Germany, okay? So these concentration camps happened, and they were meant for Jews, gypsies, the gays, the disabled, what have you, okay? So all that is coincided with, with the whole concentration camp thing. Now, the last thing I noticed is that at the border, besides the overcrowding and besides the huge mass numbers that just continue to pour in at the border, I think that if these people knew that there was a concentration camp thing going on at the border, I don't think they'd be willing to be going there. They'd probably stop in their tracks and head back south, because if they had found out that, there's work death camps at the border now, Trump installed, maybe we should turn back. But yet they're still coming in droves, and they're still constantly coming in and being pulled through the border and putting housed into these death camps. So obviously these people aren't getting the message. So since it's not true and it's totally false, there is no such thing as the death camps over there at the southern border. All right. So she has completely forgotten the idea of what a concentration camp is, what they were, and what they were intended for. So this is where I have to sort of question Alexandria. Is she either just that dumb? Is she just saying things to draw lines and conclusions to Donald Trump being a Nazi and a fascist? Or is she, like, she just firmly believes that that's just a concentration camp? Or I don't know. I don't know. And it's so saddening and disturbing to hear and see this. This woman going on, on Twitter or Instagram Live, almost every day, mind you, just constantly just giving her 2 cents and giving her opinions and thoughts on everything. And it is very cringeworthy to watch and listen to. And I was watching Mark Geist today and Sinatra Says, and they both had their very good 2 cents topics on it. And it's hilarious and scary at the same time. So I would encourage you to go to Sinatra Says, and he just uploaded a video today as the filming of this video, which is another reason why I'm responding to it, because it's I love history and I love reading about that kind of stuff. And when I just hear these politicians who just love to bring up anything about how the conclusions of Donald Trump and the Republican Party and anyone who conservative is, all together as a whole, they're coincided with being Nazis, or coincided with being fascists. And it's just so stupid that I can't even really think about it, because it's so disheartening and it's insane. I can't believe it. So this woman either needs to open up a history book or really needs to have someone, give her a thought or a, little history lesson on what exactly a concentration camp is or was. And, and let's just say, even the Nazis didn't just have them. The Soviet Union had them, and they were called gulags. And gulags were work camps, and sometimes those are even just as worse. They had horrible conditions. And there had been some stories on CNN and MSNBC about, there a few of the conditions. I think it was in New Mexico. There was a New Mexican ICE station, holding station for the migrants, and they were basically showing how the urinals and the bathrooms and the showers were all just horrible. The food was, not cold. The chicken was leaking. I did a video on this. Okay, now, putting that aside, all right? Okay, yeah, that's bad. That's disgusting. It's disturbing, whatever, a little bit. But it is in no way compared to what a concentration camp was. You could just look at the videos. You can go in LA, you can go to the Museum of Tolerance, or you can spend real money and just go to Auschwitz or Birkenau and go and see the camps and see the memorials and see the actual artifacts. Be there where it all happened in concentration camps. Okay? You could see the pictures. You could see the skulls. Just the total elimination of a certain type of people, or people who were thought as different or degenerate to the Nazis. Okay? Alright? This woman is insane for saying that. And I am totally upset about that, because you obviously do not know. You just like how the left plays with the word Nazi so much, and how much they like to play with that word and just say everybody who is to the right of them a Nazi. It's just a play on a word that they don't understand. It's just so oversaturated now that it's lost all meaning. And the only meaning that it means now is not Nazism from history. No, it's just Hitler and Nazis. That's it. All right. Forget about the war. Forget about concentration camps. Forget about America and Britain and France and battles and things that happened during that time. American patriotism, the Soviet Union fighting and kicking ass on the Eastern Front. Forget about all that stuff. Let's just focus on Hitler and the Nazis and keep continuing to call the Republicans that. Okay? And just to throw this in there, since Alexandra occasional Cortex likes to throw out that, she is a socialist, well, she would fall in line with the Nazis because, well, let's face it, Nazi stands for the National Socialists, okay? NASDAP, that was an acronym, all right? National Socialist Workers' Party, okay? For Germany, all right? And that's basically, Nazi was just the small word that simply meant that. So, socialist is in the name. The left is associated with socialism, or democratic socialists, as they like to say. So, just to throw that in there, so in case anybody forgot, or just didn't know. But anyways, I'll cut the video off here, because I pretty much said all I had to say, and I tend to rant and go off a lot, but I don't want to make this like a 30 fucking minute video. But anyway, go check out the video. It should still be up, and go check out Sinatra Says. That's all I got to say. And I think it was uploaded today, the 19th of June. So just go ahead, check it out. And Mark Dice, he did a video on it today, June 19th as well, talking about AOC and the whole concentration camp thing. So anyways, guys, that's just my little 2 cents right there. So, like, dislike, comment, share, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. Alright, we'll catch you in the next video, guys.